The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200. They come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlyn Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay? 15,300. Right there, look at this. Caitlyn Clark gets 15,591 fans in attendance, 105% increase. Compared to the average game is 76.45. And to Angel Reese, it's only 10,000 people is what the contract is. Okay? This is WNBA is paying Caitlyn Clark $28 million. Good for frickin' you.
Why are some WNBA players resisting the Caitlyn Clark effect? The answer may surprise you. What LeBron James and Caitlyn Clark have in common is that they both revolutionized their leagues as rookies, but although LeBron was greeted with open arms, Clark's reception has been complex.
Saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. You know, they flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right. Caitlyn Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But for her individually, I don't think she should get involved on nothing that's being said. Just go.
Let's discuss Clark's game, which broke records. Can you imagine the impact it had? It's as if she flipped a switch and everyone started watching women's basketball. But this is where things get very fascinating because not everyone in the league is excited about it. WNBA attendance jumped and viewing went through the roof.
Upset with the fact that Stephen A. Smith hasn't been talking about WNBA enough for the last few years, and she's calling him out, and it got pretty nasty. Rob, I'm going to text this to you. You have this? Go ahead and play this clip. Go for it.
We're talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that.
We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlyn is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
She's talking all that trash. Could you imagine if it was racist? If that was a white girl.
White supremacy.
You may be asking yourself, wait, shouldn't they be happy? But it's not that easy. Although Clark's success has the potential to revolutionize women's basketball, it is causing some drama as some players are ignoring her and the league is unsure of how to deal with this rookie sensation. If you're curious about what's actually happening behind the scenes, stay tuned because we're going to get into the juicy details.
She's going to face a level of racism from black players, and she's going to face a level of hostility from lesbian players because she's not on team LGBTQ. She's a Catholic. She's got some boyfriend. She's going to walk into an extremely hostile environment. And so when it was Tiger Woods walking into a hostile environment of the PGA Tour, we talked about it, we covered it, we covered it sympathetically, we criticized the people that were against Tiger Woods. As it relates to Caitlyn Clark, who could come and make the WNBA.
Let's speak about numbers now. Not only are Caitlyn Clark's numbers impressive, they're mind-blowing, but the true surprise is why the WNBA is so buzzing about these record-breaking achievements. Let's examine the significance of these figures for the future of women's basketball rather than focusing solely on the scores. Clark is the best guard in two-point field goals with an incredible shooting percentage of 62.7% from within 5 feet, which is not only excellent, that's elite-level efficiency, but it's more than just her shooting that draws attention.
The Fever figured out.
Stan, they've figured out each other. Caitlyn Clark talked about it after the game. She said, we're finally understanding each other. The best dynamic duo right now has been Caitlyn Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Coming out of this Olympic break, watching those two play off of each other. They look rested. Kelsey Mitchell has been on fire.
The record books are being rewritten by Clark's plays. Yes, with 232 assists in her debut season, she set a new WNBA record. Can you imagine the effect that 232 assists would have on a team? It seems like she's constantly looking for teammates to give her easy buckets, but this is where things start to get interesting. Clark's play is so groundbreaking that some are comparing her to NBA greats like Jason Kidd. Steph Curry with Steve Nash. These similarities aren't arbitrary. Rather, they highlight some of the most adaptable and influential basketball players in history. Clark is in a class by herself because of her ability to dominate the game, her court vision, and her long-range shooting.
Angel break these rookie records has been phenomenal, but when it comes to Indiana and Chicago, Indiana is the more complete and together basketball team on both sides of the ball, which makes them a dangerous team in the playoffs. Chicago still fighting to hold on to that playoff spot.
You may be wondering, well, she's good, but how does this affect the league? Well, get ready for this. The Caitlyn Clark effect is real and spectacular. The Atlanta Dream set a record for the largest crowd at a WNBA game in Georgia history, with 7,576 fans attending to watch Clark play. This isn't just a big crowd, it's a statement, and it's not just a one-time thing. The Indiana Fever Clark's team has completely changed its image, and it's all thanks to Clark.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlyn Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlyn Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with? Now, I'm not going to put Asia Wilson in there. I'm just saying between these two. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlyn Clark is.
Let's take a moment to zoom out. Clark's influence extends beyond statistics and TV deals. She is transforming the perception of women's basketball. Every game she plays turns into an event that draws millions of viewers, 2.2 million for a single game, which is unprecedented in the WNBA, and quality is more important than quantity. It seems as though Clark is playing on a separate court than everyone else, since her shooting range is extending what people previously believed was feasible in the women's game. She is sinking shots from distances that were formerly supposed to be no man's land.
Caitlyn Clark now has the rookie record, the history of the WNBA, as she's now going to try to set the all-timer.
But here's the thing. It would seem that the entire league would be celebrating Clark's success, since she is not only altering games but also the entire women's basketball scene. She is more than just a player, she is a phenomenon, and with each record she sets, every crowd she attracts, and she is pushing the limits of what is possible for women in sports. In fact, it's creating some major trouble. What's actually happening in the WNBA behind the scenes? It appears that not everyone is ecstatic about Caitlyn. Some players feel overshadowed by Clark's spectacular debut into the league, which is causing a breach within the WNBA community. When a fellow player named Angel Reese stated, "The reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too," she didn't hold back. Can you sense the tension in that statement?
The WNBA, which nobody was talking about the WNBA just in a joking manner. She has made the WNBA and they hate it. What's the girl, PBD? The number one draft of last year? Was it last year?
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese was talking crap about her. She's like, it's not just her. What about me?
The national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to...
But it goes beyond hurt sentiments. Most players would be deflated after receiving a technical foul for punching the basket in frustration, but Clark thanked the referee, saying it inspired her to play harder. That's the kind of competitive spirit that's causing waves in the league as a result of Clark's aggressive play style.
This company, this corporation called the WNBA, is not profitable. They don't make money. They've never made money. They're fully subsidized by their daddy. And I get, like, they're just shoving Caitlyn Clark down people's throats because she's a cash cow. Great, they're gonna market the hell out of this white chick. That's whatever she is, she puts the ball in the hole.
Now, you may be wondering if this is just about basketball or if there is more going on. Well, it turns out that this debate touches on some pretty serious issues of gender and race in sports. Some claim that the backlash against Clark is just jealousy, while others say it's a reflection of larger social issues. So, what's the real story here? Is Clark's rise beneficial or detrimental to the WNBA? Well, it's complicated. On the one hand, there are players like Angel Reese who feel like their contributions are being overlooked because they have been working hard for years, and then this rookie comes in and takes all the limelight. You can understand why that might sting a little, right?
I think she is going to literally turn this thing around, not because of the stupid controversial bump, but bro, people are selling out to watch this girl play.
However, some people believe that Clark is a rising tide who could lift everyone's boats because of her popularity, which is drawing more attention to the league than ever before, more fans, more TV deals, and more money that could benefit everyone in the long run. This is where things get really interesting because this tension isn't just creating drama, it's also igniting some crucial discussions about equity and representation in women's sports, and people are beginning to ask difficult questions about who gets the spotlight and...
I'm curious about, which you said when we had the conversation a couple months ago. Guys, she's going to make nothing. She's going to make the minimum wage. Great. Why?
She makes $73,000 a year, but her contract with Nike.
But it's going to change. It's going to change because they had more people go to a Los Angeles Sparks game this year than the Lakers. There was more people attending a Sparks game this year than Lakers. Did you hear about this? When you get people butts and seats, pay for people changes, cash flow changes. So,
however, let's face it, change is never simple, particularly when it happens so quickly. Some players worry that they're falling behind, and that's a legitimate worry. The current difficulty is determining how to honor Clark's accomplishments without undermining those of other players. A shocking turn of events occurred just as it appeared that the WNBA was having an internal crisis. What if the turmoil surrounding Caitlyn Clark is exactly what the league needs? The WNBA has been having financial difficulties for years. You may be wondering how bad it could be. Well, it's pretty serious. The league has been losing about $50 million annually, which isn't just a small setback, it's a full-blown crisis. But here's the thing, Caitlyn Clark might be the game changer the WNBA has been waiting for to win a championship. Get ready to see how conflict might be turning into the biggest opportunity in WNBA history.
To win a tournament. And so people need to see, I think history is repeating itself, and Caitlyn Clark could be raising the tide and lifting all boats. And I think Angel Reese needs to take a pill because there is a great opportunity here, and I think jealousy is reigning supreme here.
Let's take a moment to discuss numbers. Remember that game against the Atlanta Dream drew a record-breaking crowd of 7,576 fans? That's not just a big number, it's a statement that people are flocking to see Clark play, which is generating a significant amount of revenue for the league. However, it's not just about ticket sales. Clark's influence is spreading. The Indiana Fever outside of the court because of one rookie, Clark's club has experienced a 225% rise in corporate partnerships. This isn't just growth, it's an explosion of interest, and you might be asking how the other players are affected. Well, that's where things get very fascinating. In addition to making a ton of money for herself, Clark is bringing attention to the league as a whole and exposing some unsettling realities regarding player compensation.
I think I don't think the WNBA is ready for this type of attention that she's bringing to them. That attitude. There was another player that was crying after a regular season game, and you said the R word, Tom. I don't know why you were blocking it. Racism. Everybody's talking about, like Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, which we'll get into, Pat, after we go. He's just going on these panels and going, you know what? First he's bashing Trump, and then he goes into Caitlyn Clark, and she's everything about her is white, and he's going on these anti-white race things about her and how black personalities would be more successful if they were white. It's unattractive. It's making this victim
young lady, and she's been a magnet in a way that has benefited the league in ways that others have not, even though their efforts have been worthy and deserving of being as celebrated, if not even more celebrated. And it's a reminder that no matter how far we believe that we have advanced as a society, there's still such a long way to go, because in the end,
look, this guy's embarrassing, bro.
You're bright, you're right, and as a result, the shine comes your way in the eyes of a lot of people.
Clark has been outspoken about the need for the WNBA to pay its players more, and it's clear from the statistics why her rookie salary was only $76 while her endorsement deals were worth millions. People are discussing the importance of women's sports because of this enormous disparity, but here's the real deal. With all the attention Clark is bringing to the league, there is more pressure than ever to raise player salaries, and with more fans, sponsors, and TV deals, the WNBA may finally have the resources to do so. Clark's success isn't just drawing attention to the issue, it's actually paving the way for a solution. Speaking of TV deals, let's discuss visibility. The Indiana Fever had one nationally televised game last season, but this season they have 36 of their 40 games on national television, which is not just an increase but a total change, all thanks to the Caitlyn Clark effect. However, it's not just about the Fever. The league as a whole is benefiting from Clark's popularity since more people attending the games means more money for advertising, more sales of merchandise, and more room for expansion. It seems like everyone is benefiting from Clark's success. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds fantastic, but what about the tension we discussed earlier? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Yes, there has been some pushback, and some players feel like they're being overlooked, but the thing is, all of this drama is keeping the WNBA in the news, and in the world of sports, there is no such thing as bad publicity like.
Enough with the racist BS. She's nasty. She knows how to ball. Everybody else is jealous. They're pissed off because she's getting this, like, it's ridiculous. And we're never going to advance as a species, and we're never, if he keeps having that type of attitude. It's ridiculous. It's like, what? Everything has to go back to race? Everything has to keep going back to race. She's really good.
Consider it. When was the last time the WNBA was the subject of so much discussion? The controversy, the record-breaking performances, the packed arenas, all of this is combining to create a perfect storm of attention for the league, and attention is the first step towards real lasting change. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The league still has a long way to go, and the financial struggles are real and won't go away overnight, but for the first time in a long time, there is a sense of genuine optimism about its future. According to one insider, the league could not be in a more exciting place than it is right now, so Caitlyn Clark came on the scene, shook things up, and now look where we are. The WNBA has never been hotter. However, what's really wild is that all that drama we discussed earlier is actually propelling the league forward. More fans, more money, more attention. It's as if Clark lit a fire under the entire sport.
Look, Angel Reese, there's nothing that she does where you go, did you see her? Other than she plays really, really hard, and I liken her game to Moses Malone. Moses Malone was relentless. So it's not that I don't appreciate who she is or how she plays. There is no one like Caitlyn Clark.
This is when the exciting part begins. Not only is Clark altering the game on the court, but she is also altering the discourse surrounding women's sports in general. When was the last time people discussed women's basketball so extensively and in such a meaningful way? Here's the key question. Is Caitlyn Clark simply modifying the rules for what's possible in women's sports, or is she rewriting them? Are we prepared for this revolution? Clark has a $28 million deal with Nike, which is game-changing money.